Looking for tips on how to thread a Juki Flatseamer industrial machine? The first step is to use the right thread. Ideally, a high-quality, textured nylon serger thread with some stretch, such as this. It's often called woolly nylon. Tip number 2. Cut the old thread off next to the cone and switch cones of thread. Tie the new thread to the end of the old thread. This lets you use the old thread to pull the new one through all the proper places in the machine without having to think too much about it. I like to go from right to left, pulling each thread through the machine one by one. If you keep the plastic bag around the thread cone, it will help to protect the thread from dust and also from snagging on something and breaking. When pulling each thread through the machine, make sure to lift the presser foot. This will loosen the tension dials and allow you to pull the threads smoothly and easily. Using a pair of tweezers can help you pull the thread through the small areas around the needles and loopers. Once you have pulled the new thread through all of the thread guides, cut the knot in the two threads and pull the old thread from the needle. Do not remove the old thread completely, as you can use it later to pull the new thread underneath the presser foots. Run the end of the new thread through a piece of beeswax and work it in with your fingers. The wax will help keep the end smooth and stiff to make threading the needle much easier. Use the tweezers to get the end of the thread through the needle. There isn't much space in this area, so be careful not to bend the needles. If one of the needles breaks, especially while you're stitching, you will want to replace all of them. Now tie the new thread back onto the old thread. Make sure that they haven't tangled around anything, and then use the old thread to pull the new thread underneath the presser foot. Once the new thread is in place, cut the knot between the two threads, and then cut the old thread from the thread chain. This will help you keep track of which threads to pull as you work with each one. Now, do the same for each thread. The bottom looper thread will be a little different, as it will need to be pulled through the section underneath the needles. If the thread becomes stuck as you pull it through the machine, make sure that it is sitting correctly inside the thread guides and tension dials of the machine. The whole sequence together looks like this. Once you have both loopers and all 4 needles threaded, with the end sticking out from the presser foot towards the back, you can run the machine for a little bit just to start a thread chain. Make sure that the machine is stitching correctly by test stitching with scrap fabric.